Year review. Year review in Arknights. This is a presentation about reflecting on my Arknights journey so far. My friends are here to watch along as well. And let's just jump right into it. So you might be wondering, how did it all start? And it all started with a simple character called Shu. And I think the slide speaks for itself. I love Shu. Okay, but it's not just because she's a dragon. I know I'm the dragon guy, but I think Shu has one of like the best aesthetically pleasing color palettes of any character that I have seen across all the gacha games that I've played so far. I am not an artist. I have absolutely no expert on color theory. I have no way of explaining it to you. But all I can tell you is that as a complete normie with monkey brain, Shu just works. Her entire design, it's just peak perfection. Now, okay, to get a little more serious, why did I actually start Arknights? And part of that is me turning to my good buddy Ray and asking him, "Hey Ray, can I beat Arknights IS with Dragons Only?" And we did eventually do that video where I beat IS4 Dragons Only, which was the highest IS at the time. There will be more in the works eventually. However, I do want to take the opportunity to say that throughout the entire video and me working on it for an entire month, I completely forgot to say in the video that I was not doing it on my account. I was doing it on a friend's account. So sorry to break the illusion, but in order for me to do it on my own account, I would basically have to spend a lot of money to just get the characters, let alone the time to build them. Anyway, I asked Ray, when does Shu come out? And Ray answered like, oh, about 6 months. It's a little different than you would get like early drip marketing for a Hoyo character. I'm like, oh, okay, 6 months. That's good. I'll start Arknights around that time. I then proceeded to procrastinate and not start Arknights for 6 months. And I started when Shu's banner came out. So that leads me to this slide, which is my starter squad. And I just want to take a moment to, everyone please applaud Ray, Mr. Ray Arknights, for his help in helping me start my Arknights journey.
And he never used Verdant again.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, Ray, so I guess to further explain a little bit is Ray specifically helped me just get through some of the beginner parts of the game, because not only did I procrastinate and choose to start Arknights right when Shu's banner came out, I also chose to start Arknights at probably the worst time for me, because I was juggling 5 other gacha games. No, I was not mentally okay. But this is the team that Ray used for about a week, and I stuck with this setup for about my first couple of months playing. And I could see what Ray was cooking with this squad. Obviously he had to work with what he had, but I could see what you were cooking, Ray. I could see the vision. And for the most part, I have kept most of these characters and still use most of these characters. Yes, Verdant and Saga got the short end of the stick, but everyone else has at least been used and or upgraded since then. So speaking of characters, just gonna kind of quickly speed run the showcase because there's not too much to say, but pretty much the majority of the characters that I'm actively using, everyone is Elite to Skill 7 minimum. And I know this may be a little shocking for a gacha game, but yes, I've actually built some of my 3 stars. It's kind of insane to hear 3 stars can be good in a gacha game. Now, the main reason a lot of my 3 stars were built is because at one point I did ask Ray, hey Ray, if I do IS, what are some like 3 stars that I should invest in when I decide to do IS? I then proceeded to never do IS. But I will tell you that the 3 stars that I have built so far have helped me along the way. and I don't really have much else to say about the characters that I built. I primarily stuck to what has worked for me or what I like using. Now, of course, we can't talk about characters without talking about the painful pulling experience. So I go by the philosophy of I pull for who I like in Arknights, and yes, that includes dragons too, but you know, it may seem like a no-brainer to say that, but apparently in the gacha community, saying I pull for who I like is a hot take. So that is just the philosophy that I've lived by in Arknights, mainly because Ray has also told me that Arknights is a game where you can technically beat the entire game with whatever you want to use. Your varying levels of difficulty on what characters you use may vary, but you can technically beat the game with whatever you want. Unlike, say, other gacha games where I have lost, you know, to the rate-up character, losing to a non-rate-up character in Arknights is painful. And nothing illustrated that more than my Mudrock Colonel Banner incident of Christmas Eve last year, where I saved and spent about 60 rolls on the Colonel Banner, and I just did not get Mudrock initially. I got some other character I have not used out of pure spite, and I think it was only by the blessings of God that I pulled like a few single pulls and I managed to get Mudrock. But the reason I say that losing is extremely bad is because maybe most of us watching, or if you've been a fan of this channel or you've seen some of the other modern gacha games, there is no 50-50 system in pity system in Arknights. If you lose, you really lose, and you're just praying that you roll the right dice. Lastly, the main reason why pulls are expensive and why I don't actually have too many 6 stars on my account, let alone 6 stars that I built, is because pulls are expensive in this game. Now, I do have to put an asterisk to this because technically, if I were to compare it from a raw number standpoint, a single pull in Arknights costs 600 currency, while in Hoyoverse it costs 160. However, I would say every pull in Arknights is worth infinitely more than the pulls I would normally get in a Hoyoverse game or any other of the modern gacha games currently. And that's because Arknights is based, and they said, we don't do weapon banners around here, so everything you pull in Arknights is a character. And getting duplicates of a character in Arknights is more of just a nice little bonus rather than an actual necessity. And of course, Arknights actually provides a lot of ways in-game to save up a good amount of pull currency. So it really, and this is not a problem exclusive to Arknights, but it really only gets rough when you're just trying to pull on back-to-back banners that you really want. And the hardest thing is, like, if you were a new player like me 1 year ago, you don't quite know, like, what you may need. Like, you don't know what kind of characters you may need later on. You might not even know if a character is good or not. You may struggle to actually understand what you may or may not need, which can make your pulling experience worse. I want to move on to, very quickly, just the main story section. I don't have a lot to mention for this, but I do just want to show that as far as the main story has gone, I have gotten pretty much all the way from chapters 1 to 8, and I think I'm about halfway through chapter 9. I'm currently on stage 916, as you can see by the screenshot. But obviously everyone goes at their own pace. Not everyone plays the same or has the same account, so it may vary in terms of progress, but I do feel like I comparatively have gone at a relatively snail pace throughout the story, and that's mainly because only recently I actually locked in the last month and decided to actually play chapters 6 to 8 when I didn't really have too much to do. I also jumped around certain chapters to unlock modules faster. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the way to explain this is that for the main story, chapters 1 to 8 are kind of like one giant arc of the main story. And then chapter 9 onward is like the second big arc of the main story. And Arknights actually allows you to just play starting from chapter 9 after a certain point if you want to, and and I assume it's mainly because you can unlock modules faster.
I'm actually trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. And it's just because certain materials are locked behind those later stages. So yeah, I think it just allows you to progress through it because it's two separate arcs.
The second point, as I'm sure the one that makes everyone in the voice call roll their heads, is I did commit a cardinal sin in Arknights, which was I spent in secret 2 months grinding rocks on stage 1-7 to convert it into Arundum, which is the wishing currency.
I'm still baffled that you did that.
Your Honor, I know you all hate me, but I would like to state for the record why it happened.
All right, well, everyone is waiting with open ears.
Okay, so look, you gotta understand, when a man is desperate, he will do anything. Because I had pulled on I think 3 banners in the same month, and I just felt like I couldn't keep up. And not only could I not keep up, but because I was an early game player, building characters so that I actually could complete more stages was just really rough, because it every time I tried to build a new character, it was like, okay, I need some new random material. I gotta go to some random ass stage to get the chance of dropping this material, or certain materials like operator chips, I can only farm this on certain days. I'm sure as every Arknights player knows, you always need LMD. You can never have enough LMD. And I was broke. And I also needed level up materials. I basically needed everything, and everything was either locked, or it was just a lot of waiting for my daily stamina to recharge so that I could continue to farm. And I was desperate for rolls. So I looked up a guide. I looked up if it was even possible to farm Arundum, and I did find a video, and I want to state for the record, even after doing it and after a year of playing, I would not really recommend doing this. I would not recommend grinding out rocks and then converting it in your base to Arundum. The only reason it technically paid off for me is because I had already had a decent amount of rocks that I had gotten just playing the game normally. So I knew and calculated that as long as I stayed net positive, as long as I logged in two times a day and spent my entire sanity and the extra sanity that you can sometimes get, I knew that I would be net positive and that I would gain, I think it was 240 Arundum a day, which isn't a lot, but if you're doing it consistently, it adds up. And so I did that, and then I spent all of that pools on Mudrock, and I already described how that happened, and I'm only lucky that I got Mudrock, because I think if I didn't get Mudrock, I think I would have quit for a month. Lastly, I just want to make a point that sanity management is a bit rough for the early game. That's mainly because both story and events use stamina, and it's really tough because, you know, on the one hand I wanted to play the story and get through the story, but I also wanted to play the events, and playing through the events, even if I can't get through it all as an early player, it's actually very good because the event shops give out really good materials that I currently just can't get on my own right now. And so it was basically a tough decision of do I farm events or do I farm story? And most of the time, I mainly just played the events, and then on the 1 or 2 weeks that I happened to not need to play an event for the shop, I actually played the story. All right, now we get to the main portion of this presentation. Now, I'm not going to cover every single event because, 1, there were so many, and 2, I don't have a lot to say for some of them, but I'm going to kind of give you the general idea and rundown and give all my overall experience, because like I said, most of me playing Arknights was mainly playing the events. So I started off, beginner player. I averaged about 4 normal stages per event, which I think that's good. I mean, most events with their normal stages, they usually have 8 minimum. So I was averaging the first 50% or so of the events, and I think that's okay for a starter player. Then we move on to what I absolutely should not have probably participated in, which was this temporary event where I got to temporarily play Chapter 14. And for those who don't know Arknights, Chapter 14 at the time of this recording is the latest chapter in the story. So I basically teleported into the end game and story, and you can see that that I clearly should not have been here. And I was very annoyed when I played these stages, mainly because of the mechanic with the red storm of death. But in fairness, I, as a new player at the time, was never meant to be here. So if anything, it's a miracle that I even beat some of these stages. And that screenshot at the bottom right is from the level 1411. And this is just a funny moment to me because all three of these guys in the voice chat didn't believe me that Logos doesn't die during this level. And so in doing that, I discovered that by accident during one of my failed runs. And so because of that, I just abused that fact, and I just fortified the ending and let Logos kill 90% of the enemies. All right, well, after that event, clearly I just needed to keep working on my account. And so I kept leveling up my characters, their skills, and eventually I was starting to average 6 normal stages per event. So congratulations, I'm making progress. And I do say an average of 6 normal stages because I don't actually know how many I've cleared, because the hardest part about making this presentation was that when I was looking at YouTube videos to kind of remember what stages on certain events I have and have not done, I had a hard time remembering whether I actually did the stage or if I just watched my friends do the stage and I think that I cleared it, but I have no memory of clearing it. So this gets onto a significant event for me, which was the Pepe event, and in which I beat the PP without support characters. This was the furthest that I had gotten in an event, so I had gotten to the EX Stage 4, all on my own, no supports. I was very proud of myself. I also have put the boss image on here because from a quote from Ray telling me that the boss doesn't do damage in Phase 1. Well, my Myrtle got instantly deleted every single attempt that I did fighting this boss. However, I do not blame Ray. I think I just took his quote a little too seriously, and that I was not considering the fact that these guys have played for a long time, and I am a new player, and my characters are definitely not maxed out. So I'm sure the boss didn't do damage to you guys, but he certainly destroyed Myrtle several times for me. And of course, the last thing about this event was the engraving mode, the engraving minigame. Ray begged me to play this because he was like, Ben, you can get all these free resources. And initially I was like, but Ray, I don't get any pool currency. I'm Goblin Brain. I don't want to do it if I don't have pool currency. And Ray was like, no, Ben, please, you'll get so many good resources. So I did do it, and I'm not gonna lie, it was actually pretty fun. I will say though, even with Ray's explanation and guidance when I had reached some points that I had struggled on, I'm gonna be real with you, to this day, I still don't know what I was doing. I honestly just girl boss failed my way to success, and that's how I did the event.
Oh, don't worry, Ben. We can revisit that when it reruns.
Yeah. I also want to make a note about like my Myrtle dying. I can't verify it, but there is a chance that I did beat the boss stage slightly under leveled, which probably contributed to Myrtle dying.
Well, don't worry, Ben, because we can visit that during the rerun.
Oh God. Okay. I was very proud of myself during that event. And then the next event I played, I realized I am immediately washed and I need support characters. I need support characters in events because I'm bad at this game. But for the most part, this event wasn't too bad. I thought the heat vent mechanic was actually a nice, interesting mechanic to work around. However, I did not like these two specific enemies. On stage 7, we had the Bombardier at the bottom, and then we had the event boss, Clip. Specifically his second form, where he does big damage move and then stuns. Now, if he kills, he gets to do that move again, and he also just gains a teleport behind my units. So trying to stall him with blockers basically doesn't work. You have to just hope to God that he doesn't kill you the first time and you win the game. It was very frustrating because my units were the max that they could be, and he was still one-shotting them. So that is why I started using supports, and I let go of my fragile pride for events like, okay, I need support characters, because also realistically, if I just 3-star a stage, I'm getting Urginian Prime, and that I can use for more pools and buying skins later. So I basically nerfed myself for no reason out of sheer pride. And this is when I said, yeah, I have no more pride. But speaking of having no more pride, we then go to the collaboration with Dungeon Meshi. And this was the event where I was like, that's it, I'm summoning Magaraga, aka Mr. Ray Arknights. Because for the main thing I struggled with was the boss of this event. And that's because, and while I did get the furthest in this event that I had previously, I'd set a new record of getting all the way and completing 3 stars EX8. That is only because of Ray's Kalsic and Ray himself helping me out, because no matter what I did, I just struggled on the 3rd phase of this boss. And to this day, I actually don't know how Ray did it, because I tried a few times, and then I gave Ray my phone and was like, here, Ray, you can try it. And while I was helping a friend grind their endgame in Star Rail so that they could get my day, Ray just beat the stage with his Kalsic and my characters, and I have no idea how he did it, and I still won't know to this day.
He doesn't know about skill 3. Anyways, please continue.
Still keep it a secret from him. He doesn't need to know.
But yeah, as far as the event itself, aside from the boss, I will say this event was a lot of fun. I did really like the overall aesthetic of it, and I just didn't. The main thing about this event is I didn't quite understand still which enemies were and weren't food for the cooking pot mechanic. And I also think that this boss, at least for me, was the first time I kind of encountered a Stallfest boss, because while you can DPS it down, that a lot of the way the cooking pot mechanic worked, and I think it was the dev's intent that you were kind of just supposed to stall out this boss. At least that's what I think the intent was. I just chose the path of violence. So next going up is an event that kind of broke me emotionally for a bit. I only did this event because I wanted the vanilla skin, because vanilla is dragon, and I am in a prison of my own suffering. But this is also what I would consider the first time I encountered a quote-unquote endgame event. And in simple terms, I basically couldn't clear everything in this event simply because I just didn't have a large enough roster built. Because if you beat certain stages during this event, you get buffs that help you in some of the other stages. But the trade-off is that you can't reuse those characters for those challenge stages. So I could only do one of them. And this event has what has started my hate arc for Rosmonthus. Specifically because the stages that I did farm for this event, they had these stupid VTEs, which are these like fire extinguisher pipe things that just come to the ground, and they stun, and it was very annoying to deal with. So it was a little annoying to deal with her own challenge stage, but eventually I did clear it, and so no longer the VTEs would no longer stun me, which was very nice, but it was very annoying to fight against. And then this was also the event where I got introduced to the Sarcast enemies, and I think simply because this was an endgame event, these guys were juiced up and one-shot most of my units. So it made me very frustrated playing this, but I got through it. I got all the rewards and the vanilla skin. I just clearly wasn't meant to be here. But that's okay. Moving on to a little bit of...
I think, though, with all this Rosemontis hate, it does make sense why you're a Whizbriz fan. Yeah. Clearly something has gone wrong if he preserves Wizardel over Rosemontis.
No comment. All right, so moving on to a little bit of fun. We have the April Fool's event, and I gotta say, the devs are based for letting me play the previous events as well. So I really didn't. So it's nice that I felt like I didn't miss out on these events because they are actually really fun. Most of them. From my personal ranking, I would say this leftmost one, the gambling event. This was top tier, S tier. We're all degenerates here. We love gambling. Second place for me would be Barrage Fortress, and this is where the devs basically turned Arknights into a bullet hell game, and I gotta really applaud their creativity for it. Then we have the Penguin event, which to this day is the worst rhythm game event I've ever played. And I really hate that at the end they debated me, which was really troll, but it's okay. It was fun, kind of. And then the one that I'm probably going to get the most for is Uofficial is in last place. Aesthetically, the event was great, but I'm sorry, Ray. Uofficial is why we need skip dialogue buttons, because you have to play this event multiple times for objectives, and even when I was just playing multiple runs for the completion objectives, it still took 10 minutes per run because this girl would not stop yapping.
I mean, you should be used to this. You're a Hoyo shell.
I don't read the dialogue. Well, yeah, I think this just proves that you don't read Ben. So, what do we have to say against those allegations, huh?
They're true. Anyway, moving on. I stopped reading after high school. All right. We have this event, ending a grand overture. This event was fun. I had no real problems with it. I thought the mechanics were okay. It was a fine event. The only thing I have to mention about this event was this was the event that taught me that certain bosses can't move, so they can't go to the objective. And so I learned the hard way that if you take too long on these kinds of stages, the game will just time you out and the level just ends. And this screenshot is not from the attempt where it happened, but it was very unfortunate timing to discover this because I just needed Wizardel or Logos to get their skill 3 up again to kill the boss, because the boss was the only enemy left. And he had a third of his health, and I would have killed him if I just had the skills up. But yeah, the level just ended, and I was very annoyed and confused. But I learned now. All right, now we get to probably my hot take of the year, which is this was the worst event of the entire year for me. I absolutely hated Carnival, and I genuinely hated Carnival stages because even if I was making sure that the enemies were putting out the fuse, I was protecting that, protecting the president, there were just times where the fuse takes so long to go off that I'm just either dead or I am overwhelmed by enemies because I can't kill these enemies because they have increased defense or resistance because it's not Carnival time. And the stage mechanics were cool. It's just the fuse part was the worst part. And so it just made the levels be artificially longer, and it was miserable.
My retort is skill issue.
You are all 5 years. Most of you have played this game for 5 years. You have all the broken ass meta units. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, my second hot take of the year is the Thorns Pirate event, which has the worst boss ever. For me personally, the Junkler is the worst boss in the entire game that I've fought so far. And I know I just said that Clip was an annoying boss to fight with, but I'm gonna use Clip to defend why he is actually better than the Junkler, because like I said, Clip, he has a one-shot move, but if you survive it, you just win the stage. The Junkler, he has a one-shot move, and it just recharges off cooldown every single time. He gets to just spam it, and it's bullshit. This stage is I already explained that I don't enjoy stall-festing bosses, And Junkler is the Stallfest boss. He is annoying, frustrating, and just an overall boring fight to deal with. None of it was fun. I never had a single moment of fun doing his boss stages. And I blame Ian for gassing me up and saying that I could beat this whole event. And to be fair, he was mostly correct. I was able to beat this event all the way, but I still needed Ray and Ian's help on the boss stage. The most recent event that I've done, totally unbiased opinion, definitely the best event I've played so far. In actuality, I would say that I hold this event at least a little higher up just because, at least for me, this is the event that came out when I started the game, and I only did stage 2 because I just simply didn't have anything built, and I didn't have anything like ready to do this event. But a year later, it was like, well, I'm back a year later. I can prove that I am 1% less bad at the game than I was when I started. And so it did feel weirdly nostalgic playing this event because this is what I started with. And I overall liked the event. I thought the tainted water mechanics were pretty simple and easy to understand. And I do personally like not even just Shu, but I think just like characters in general who can like self-sustain and or like heal on top of whatever they already do. And I just kind of like those kinds of characters because it just helps out when like, oh, stages that like I really have to min-max my DP and deployment orders. And sometimes I just can't get a medic on the field quite yet because I need more damage or I need a blocker. So the characters that just have like some built-in self-sustain or extra healing just helps out a lot. And that's why I also felt like this event was built for me. Yeah, it's built for Shu, but I felt like a year later, it did feel like it was an event kind of made for my kind of play style. And lastly, I'm not sure if the video will be out before or after this, but these guys did watch me play through the rerun. And just for the rerun, I did complain a lot when I was playing it, even though I say this is like one of my favorite events. And the only reason I complained a lot was because I set myself a challenge was I could not use support characters for this event. I simply wanted to prove that I am not completely ass, and I wanted to prove to Shu that I am worthy of having her. So I played it without using a single support character throughout the game, and I did beat it. And was it an absolutely dumb idea that cost me a bit of time? Yes, but I do want to say that I think this leads to like what I think is the ultimate joy of Arknights in general, and why I think I will continue playing this game probably for another year or so. We'll see. The reason is that a lot of the joy of Arknights comes from trying, failing, and learning from your mistakes to solve and beat a stage. Like every stage feels like a puzzle, and you're just trying to figure out how to beat the puzzle. But unlike the education system, there are multiple answers there are multiple solutions to how you can beat a stage.
Wait, but here's the thing though, Ben.
Yeah.
With this, you say that there are multiple options to beating the stage, but yet, from my understanding, there is only one option. And you've yet to really mention this option all that much.
Yeah, you were calling us meta slaves and using meta units. Why don't you show the team your squad?
Yeah, Ben. What is the actual answer for all these stages?
Okay, so you can't see it because the face cam is on for the OBS recording, but I have right here the answer. My Wizardell stand. Okay.
There you go, Ben. Thank you for admitting.
Okay, well, listen. The only defense I have is while she is currently the best physical character in the game, I still have to play good. I can't believe you called me out. All right, well. Speaking of Wizardell, I guess we'll just talk about what's next in my Arknights journey, because that was pretty much all I had to say about events. So, yes, I like Arknights. I like playing the game. So my main goal, at least for my account, was I still want to continue beating the main story. So I'm still going to continue being Chapter 9 onwards. Would be really funny if by next year I still haven't even beaten like chapter 10, but we'll see. After I do the main story, though, that's when I'll probably switch to maybe doing all the side story content. I tried doing some of it recently, and I got stuck with decision paralysis, and then I decided to just go farm chips. So that's about it. Obviously, making my character stronger, aka getting more modules, and mastering 3 more of my favorite characters. As far as collecting characters go, my main priority goal has currently been collecting the sweet siblings. The wife demands her family, so I must abide by that rule. And then, of course, I may actually finally get into the lore, and at least the way I'm gonna do it is probably actually watch the anime, because I can't read. And finally, the goal that I don't know if I'll even get to it within a year. We'll just have to see. Maybe I will finally do IS and reclamation algorithm on my account. But we'll see. The story kind of takes priority aside from events. So thank you all so much for listening to my nearly 40 minutes of yapping about Arknights. This is what 1 year progress looks like. I thank you all for watching. I thank the boys for joining this presentation. And I will probably see you all in the next video when I roll for you.